Hey squad, welcome back. Now today we're going to be exploring a style of music that I absolutely love. And that style is called funk music. In fact, I grew up listening to funk and it has been a major influence on the way I've played and produced over the years. Now today we're going to delve in and see what we can come up with using Logic Pro X and my bass guitar, and we'll explore some vibes and see what we come up with. Now remember, if you find value in my content, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop me a line in the comment section. Anyway, it's that time, so let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing we want to point out is the tempo. We're running at 110 BPM. Now most funk music would range between 90 to 110, maybe slightly faster, but it's all about the groove. So the faster you go, the harder it is to create a real nice swinging groove. Now the drum pattern I've got right here is very representative of old school funk. Now this reminds me a great deal of one of my favorite bands of all time, Zapp, Roger Troutman and Zapp. So let's have a quick listen to the groove. Okay, a really funky groove that you're going to bop your head to and it really wants to make you move. Okay, so as this is another one of my videos in my producing in color series, I want to try and keep things really simple. Not too many elements, not too many layers, just getting down to the raw basics. Okay, so now we've got the drums down. The first thing I'm going to add is a chord progression using this pad that I've got here in Alchemy. Right now, Alchemy is, like I've said many times before, it's an amazing tool, much of which goes ignored or underused, but there's so much you can do with this amazing plugin. So we're going to start with this warm vintage analog pad sound, and it sounds like this. What I need to do is I need to edit the sound slightly because I don't like the release time. If you notice here, when I release the chord, how long the sound sustains for. So if I go like this, okay, so what I'm going to do is come down here in Alchemy and I'm going to go first to the effects section. And as you can see, there's a reverb, there's an acoustic reverb switched on. So now let's switch that off. Right, so it's still sustaining a bit too long, so we need to adjust the release time. So come back up here to performance, and I'm going to pull this release time down to 69% at the moment. Now this is linked to the volume envelope just here. And that's the release control right here. So if I was to pull this down like so, how about 60%? Yeah, that will do. You can see how quickly it's possible to go in and make adjustments to your sounds in Alchemy. So let's close that for now. Another good thing about this sound is when I move the modulation wheel, listen to how the sound opens up. So let's put down this progression and then move on to the next section. Okay, so I've decided to add another element in addition to the bass guitar, which will come in a while. I'm going to add a very simple guitar chord progression. That's really something that really connects with the funk genre. A simple but important part of the funky groove. Now remember, I'm not a guitarist, So my efforts here are going to be really limited, but I'll try and find something that does definitely work, something that does actually work with this production. Okay, so we've got the guitar part down, and what I'll do, I'll go in and edit this up to make sure that I've got the best bits working here. I'll probably use a bit of flex time to adjust notes, timings and so on, just so I'm happy with the timing of everything. Now, the other thing I want to point out is all of the guitar effects I'm using are Logic native effects, as you can see right here on the channel strip. And you can have a lot of fun messing with this, and you can come up with some really good results. So now it's time to put down the bass, and I've got my bass channel already set up right here with all of my bass effects. Now I'm going to be using the slap bass technique, which is very much part of the funk sound, and the tone I'm going for is something like this. Okay, so let's get this bass part down, and then we'll add just a couple more elements and then wrap it all up. Okay, so we're getting close to finishing off this main groove. What I'm going to add now is a couple of synths. I want to add a synth line, but I'm combining two synth sounds, one from Alchemy, this one, and this one from the ES2 synth. Now I want to layer them together and put them down as a single synth line. So there's two ways of doing it. I could select the record enable for both of them. Now when I play the synth, you'll get the combined sound. Another way of doing this is to select both of them and right click and go to create track stack. And we want a summing stack. Both of the synths are sitting in this track stack folder. I can shut it like so, and I can call this lead. And when I play this, you'll get both sounds layered. Of course, you can open this up, and I can adjust the pan position and the level of each of the synths to get the right balance. Now, the other thing I want to point out is I've got both of these going through to a bus, and on the bus I've got an overdrive unit using the Bright Tube preset, and I've also got a chorus using the Mega Wide Chorus preset, and just a simple tape delay. Let me switch those off so you can actually hear the sound without those. Okay, let's put them back on. That's far richer, far bigger sound, and far more in line with what we're doing here in terms of this production. So I've got an idea for a lead line, so I'll put that down, and then we'll do one or two little bits of tidying up, and then we'll play out with the main vibe. Okay, so I've got some ideas down for the lead section. I'll go in and do some tidying and adjustments. But one other thing I want to show you right here real quick is this pad section. I want to show you how really effective the modulation wheel can be when it comes to modulating the sound. In fact, opening up the filter so that the synth sound can become brighter over time. This is the default sound, and then I'll show you what happens when we use the modulation wheel. So let me show you now what happens when we use the modulation wheel on this. Okay, so I've done a bit of tidying up and I've just created an arrangement that's interesting enough to play us out. One last thing I want to show you just right here. I've sent all of these to bus 20, which is like a submix. And on that submix, I have inserted the isotope vinyl, which gives me a bit of old school vinyl crackle, a little bit of noise, and it allows me to mess with the overall tone of the production. It's currently set to a sort of 1980s sound. I'm going to switch between the 1980s and 2000s and then make a decision as to which way I'm going to go. Let's start with the 1980s. Okay, and let's go with the 2000s. What I find generally is on the 2000s, you get a bit more bottom end, a bit more punch. So let's have a listen. Yeah, so I think I'm going to stick to the 2000s. I'm not going to age it too much because I want the bass and the drums to really jump out. So we're going to go with that. And that's it really. Just a few simple parts. We've got a drum section, bass guitar, electric guitar, a synth pad, and a lead. And that's it. And all I need to do is arrange it, put some vocals on, and we're there. As long as you can ride that groove, you can definitely come up with your own great funky vibes. Anyway, do remember to like the video if you're feeling it, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Until next time, peace.